welcome to the coffee show.
Thank you.
Bowen and Pip from Patricia Coffee Brewers, probably the most, I would say the Melbourne coffee bar with the most folklore ever. I mean, you guys probably won't own up to it, but it's probably got the most history of any cafe coffee business in the coffee capital of the world, Melbourne. And you guys started it, and it's got such a treasured place in so many people's hearts across the world. So this is an extremely exciting opportunity to interview you guys, and I've known you for a few years now. And thanks for accepting my invitation.
Thanks, mate. Yeah,
thank you.
I want to know, before we get into that, how did you both sort of start in coffee?
Well, I started when I was. I remember. I mean, for me, it was all about going into my first cafe, which was I was 14. It was called Santushi's in Carnegie. And
still there to this day.
I think it's actually gone. I think it's gone.
Oh, it's moved. Sorry,
yeah,
because they're in
yeah.
Bill.
So different people. Yeah, but it was this incredible place. Different furniture, cutlery, records playing, lots of. Just the atmosphere, I couldn't believe it. I didn't actually realize that these kind of places existed. And I think I was probably a couple of months away from being able to work. 14 and 9 months, I think you can legally work. Right. And so that was, I put my resume in the day I could work and got a job. And that really, from that moment, I was like, this would be an amazing thing to do. So from there it was going for different cafes, restaurants, bars, like working in all different, like started in the kitchen, was going to do chefing as well. And then I think coffee just kind of, I realized kitchens were way too hard and scary. And that's where coffee kind of came along. And I realized, you can kind of be creative and you can make a product but you can still get the people interaction, which is what I was all about. So then, I was lucky enough to work with heaps of great places. And mostly, I think probably Seven Seas was half of the establishments open now was really the catalyst for helping me see the vision through.
Was that open before Patricia was?
Yeah, so St. Ali was when Seven Seas owners, Mark and Bridget, owned that. That was a place that you just heard about. You just kept hearing about, like, there's this guy and he's got a roastery and he's in the kitchen and he's roasting the coffee and it's in an old ambulance station and in a laneway. Like it was the first place I'd heard of that, like you could actually have a cafe in a laneway that nothing else was there.
Yeah.
So that was a huge turning point, and I really wanted to work there and really got the job because I knew I had a customer at the place I was working and they used to go there all the time, and I finally got my kind of foot in the door. But that was a really incredible place.
So you worked there?
So I worked there, yeah. And that was when Toshi, who works at Market Lane, he worked there, and everyone knew about the guy that could do like 7 rosettas in a coffee. And so I worked, he kind of trains me in I was already making coffee, but that was my first vision into specialty coffee.
Yeah. Right.
And that place just blew me away. Like the team, the vibes, the way they were doing everything was an incredible place to work. And so I was lucky enough to work with Mark and Bridget for a number of years across all of their venues. And
I'd like you to bring that mic touch this way.
Sorry. Yeah.
Me. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Done.
So they were huge. And then Brother Bubba was the next place from St. Ali, and again that just blew my mind. Like you can just go and do a just coffee in the CBD, and once I worked there, I knew this is what I want to do.
Yeah. So they're both such storied sort of venues in Melbourne's coffee history, and like I feel like Melbourne doesn't get like the historical recognition that it probably deserves in a way. Like this is all part of like modern Australian Victorian history. And but it's like these are such icons that actually people from all over the world have kind of experienced and been touched by. Like you look at Maxwell Kelowna Dashwood, British guy. He credits a lot of his success to moving to Melbourne and working at Brother Bubba Boudin, and he's gone on to have a really successful business in England. So
I think as far as I mean, look, I think there's also heaps of venues that we wouldn't go into our scene because they wouldn't be classified as specialty. You know, I think of, I know, like Mario's in Brunswick, those kind of places that they tell a massive part of the story of the culture, cafe culture. But as far as people, the amount of people coming, I don't know if everyone realizes the amount of people who come out of Seven Seeds or Mark and Bridget's establishments to go on and open places is unheard of. I think it would be second to none, really.
Yeah,
it's really insane, and it's really interesting, I think, because it's not necessarily like they're training people in that way. It's just that I guess you get to see like how does a good organization run, and then you also just see that like they're just nice people.
Yeah, they're incredibly nice.
You know, and I think that to me was like, oh, okay, so because I think hospitality often can be like run by people that maybe it's not a great culture sometimes, and that was definitely
a lot of the time.
And that was it was like that a lot for a while. And I think when you do work for people who are just really genuine and nice and they're doing a great thing, it's really uplifting and it really shows you what you can do.
Absolutely. And I think that extends beyond hospitality, right? Like if you're lucky enough to get a good boss, that can set you up for life. Like that one experience of having a good employer can really set you up for an amazing career, an amazing life. And I think, if you're working under conditions where you don't feel like you're getting that, I mean, the best advice I can give is to go and seek that out, because
a good boss,
having a good boss, having a good mentor, it's life altering.
It is, for sure.
The culture of a place as well, like the nature of who you work, who you're working with, and how it works as far as like ideas spreading and just general feeling and knowledge being passed on, more senior staff, how they treat the people who are starting out or haven't been there for as long, that can be really, really good environment, or it can be a really toxic environment. So if it doesn't feel right, definitely you should be looking to go somewhere where it feels better.
100%. I want to get your introduction to coffee as well, Pip. So
what I haven't finished. No, mate.
You bloody pelicans. And I'll get you to.
Yeah. Oh, you want this?
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. I started. I started in hospitality in a pizza restaurant, Toto's in Lygon Street, which it's been there. I don't know if it is still there anymore. I don't think it is, but it definitely claimed to be like the first pizza restaurant in Lygon Street. I don't know if that was true. I started making coffee there. I started as just wait staff, and then learnt the bar, learnt how to make coffee. And when I say learnt how to make coffee, it was very rudimentary training. We were using very much commodity coffee and very dark roasted. And what the stuff that I was taught there about coffee was stuff I really had to forget over time. Mm-hmm. But I definitely fell in love with hospitality there. And that's really what I feel like I still am in love with now. I love coffee, but hospitality is the thing that is what still gets me really excited, and, service and making people feel good about themselves. I was really shy before I was in hospitality and would be really nervous talking to people. After working in Toto's for a while, serving people beers and coffees and pizza, and realizing like everybody's just the same as you, nervous and shy, then, it just brought me out of my shell and made me feel confident about myself. And, I love that feeling of just being able to meet new people, meet new staff who to work with. I went from there to working in bars in St Kilda, and often making coffee, but still not specialty coffee. I went traveling and stuff, always working in hospitality and often in coffee, but also working in kitchens and that sort of thing. And only got into specialty coffee when I got back from Canada, which was about a year before we opened Patricia. So that was working at Dead Man Espresso, which was quite close to St. Ollie, with Luke and Kylie Mutton. And that was really my introduction into specialty. It was an eye-opening experience to realize how good coffee can taste.
Yeah.
But it was also, the sort of level of the style of hospitality that went along with it. There was also what I really liked. You can be quite casual, and it's all about sort of regular customers and connections that you have with them, which is what I always cared about. But then also you've got this product that now you're really proud of how delicious it tastes, and you can put in all the effort to get it to extract properly and taste beautiful and clean. And that was my first specialty coffee, and so that was only a year before we opened Patricia. And then Patricia was then I obviously got super excited about it then and started tasting a lot of coffee. Then after that we opened Patricia.
So what was the birth of Patricia like? So before, from idea to getting it open, like how did that happen?
Well, I think firstly it was a complete obsession. So, all I thought about was opening my own place. And so it consumed kind of everything that I did. And basically anyone I met, I'd just be having a conversation with them and probably rudely, so I'm going to open a cafe one day. I'm very young and excitable. And I was working at Declue, which was on Gertrude Street, which was another venue by Mark and Bridget. The owner of the building, Trent, I got to know pretty well. And I just, like anyone else, I'd said I wanted to open a cafe. And he came across and said, I've bought this building in the CBD, which is Stall Chambers, where we are today. And do you want to come have a look? It was a different area than what it is now. It's hard to believe when you go to Patricia now and the laneway is full and there's trees in the laneway. When we went there, there was no trees. There was not many people around. He was like, well, it's in the back of this building. In an alleyway full of bins. So it was...
the bins are still there.
The bins are still there, unfortunately. So I was really excited because I thought this could be it. I knew I just wanted to do coffee. I'd run places with kitchens before, and I found that really challenging. And I basically just realized that I want to do the best job I can. I need to make it doable. I can't try and do too much. And obviously I mentioned I loved Brother Bubba, and that was a massive eye opener for me. So I think the site was, obviously it seems obvious now that it's good. It was a bit scary at that time. It was just an office. We put the door that you enter now into Patricia, we actually had that put in. So it was, complete transformation of the space really. But really it was just, it's that thing of not what you know, but who you know. I was just lucky enough, I guess, when you're sort of always hunting for opportunities, it kind of came my way eventually. And obviously, to me, it's, we absolutely love, we love Patricia. So it's amazing that we were able to get something so good.
Why did you call it Patricia?
Well, actually, so we were living together with our partners and another friend at the time in Port Melbourne, and I was just we would obsess over just talking about what was all the things. We basically dissected every...
So the plan at that stage was I was definitely going to work at the cafe when he opened it. So I was always sort of temporary at Dead Man when I was working there because I was going to go and work for Bobo. Yeah. We were talking about it all the time. And, I was definitely going to help him run it, and I had no money, so I couldn't be an owner. But we were just obsessing over the name and the the way it was going to run, the design, the layout, and the systems. We talked a lot about the systems. But
all the details, I think, I had a couple of names that were sort of more historical about the city, which I think they would have worked, but it just didn't feel.
I think the graphic designers also came to us with a few names,
different things, But this place was everything to me. So it was it had to be something that I really cared about, and we were just sitting around, and I think maybe Beck said, what's your grandmother's name? I said Patricia, and he said, oh, my grandmother's Patricia as well. And as soon as we had said it, I was like, that's got to be the name. It's the name. It it
working
fit
out.
into every element, like the design of it, the feeling we wanted, and just having that connection where this is, I mean, it's your grandmother. Like, who doesn't love their grandmother? So, it was one of those real like light bulb kind of things, wasn't it?
The best thing was, I think it actually came while we were talking on the phone, and I remember thinking as soon as we sort of hit upon the idea, it also was good for leading us down the path of the tone of the place and of the sort of the offerings as well. Like even things like, we have the menu of black, white, and filter. Well, that is kind of the idea of just like a black coffee or a white coffee. That is how your grandma offers you a coffee. It's not, you're not getting a cappuccino or a latte or a flat white.
I guess that kind of matches when you go into the place as well. It's got this old school kind of feel about it.
And I think that's like worth kind of noting, because I think that one of the reasons Patricia works so well is because we considered every single element and we thought about how they would feel with each other. And so it's really about trying to get the right feeling for people.
What are those elements?
There's nothing that we didn't dissect, basically. So every single thing that is in Patricia was completely purposeful and thought of. I think the only thing that I didn't really think too much about was the laneway, which has become a massive part. So it's a real score on that.
But put yourself in the shoes of someone listening to this. Yeah. Patricia Coffee Brewers is on the podcast and they're thinking, I want as much information as I can.
Yeah.
Hit us with some elements.
Okay, wind, water,
fire. I've just finished watching Avatar as well.
Okay, so I mean, I think that we obviously like how we're making coffee is one part of it. We just, and that menu, going back to the menu, I think we recognize that what is kind of challenging about making coffee, when you're making a lot of coffee, the littlest things become challenging. And this might seem ridiculous to people, and this is more probably just for me because I lack in ability, but like, the whole latte, cappuccino, flat white thing, like when you're making a lot of coffee and you're trying to care about every element, the small difference in foam, which is, also I need to say that like it used to be quite different. Like when we started making coffee, a cappuccino was like a frothy volcano mountain, and then a flat white was, the thinnest thing on the planet, and a latte was in a glass with a centimetre of froth. That was literally how coffee was done. But as specialty coffee happened, it started becoming the same thing.
It doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't really exist, except for the chocolate, right? The chocolate on top, which is delicious, and we have no problems with chocolate. So we want to get that out there. We love cappuccinos and chocolate.
We accept chocolate.
Yeah, we love it. But I think it was just like, well, hey, this kind of, and again, if this is where it's like understanding all the things. Like we wouldn't go and do that menu anywhere. It wouldn't make sense everywhere. But because of the space, because of the feeling we wanted, because of the age of the building, we're in the law district as well. Like that's where you're kind of considering like, how does this come across? Because you can't just say, oh, we're just going to do it like this and who cares how people feel. It's not what we're about. Like we're actually
nothing that was just
there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing like that. And we felt like
I think a lot of it came from also the flow of the space. So we could like that's a good way to explain it, because the shape of the space and the fact that it is just basically like a long bar, and because the style of the place is a bar, it's more like a bar than a cafe. It means that having a flow that is like really repeatable and really, it needs to be fast moving to be able, we knew that it was going to be like a bottleneck situation at that doorway. So we needed to make the whole system of brewing the coffee as fast and consistent as it could be. And so I think a big part of it was like looking at that and seeing how many sort of variables we could remove while still serving amazing coffee, still highlighting how delicious this drink is. So not removing sort of, different types of coffee, still having espresso and filter and different, from different origins and
different roasteries
as well.
Yeah.
So still, lots of interesting aspects to the coffee, but removing the things that we didn't see as necessary, meant that it could be more consistent and that it could be more more efficient, work way faster. You know, it is a real sort of production line set up there, or I call it a submarine. It's like working a submarine. So
it's interesting because I do recall having a conversation with you, Bowen, one time, and you kind of spoke about the unspoken elements that a customer experiences and or feels. And one of them that you remember that you said, and it's actually stuck with me since, is a customer having to step into a venue. Like if there's like a step that they literally have to step up, it like plays on their mind subconsciously.
Yeah, I mean, I think about all elements like that, and I'm not sure like what's true and what's not, but I think it's just about like, how does this, you know, when you step down, like, you know, when you step down into venues, I mean, it's all very different. It's not to say that something is bad necessarily, but it's just like you've got to take that all into consideration. I mean, everything, at least for me, like the way I see it, is everything emits feeling, whether you're fully conscious of it or not. And it's just about really understanding that, looking at everything and then trying to piece them all together and create an overall feeling. But I think that, yeah, you can't, I mean, that's why design is there. Design is to create feeling. It's function and feeling, really, I think.
And one reason why, you know, we were thinking about every single little aspect of the place and the way that we were going to serve coffee to people was it does communicate that we are trying really hard to make you happy, to give you that great hospitality and to give you a great feeling. Like, we might not have exactly what you want because, you know, it is a stripped back offering. We're not offering a lot of different things. But even if we don't have what you want, you couldn't leave the place feeling like, oh, they didn't care about me. Like, they were trying as hard as they could to make me have a good experience. And we didn't want to shy away from, you know, I think that was one of the things we talked about a lot at the start, was that, you know, both of us are definitely obsessed with doing the best job we can. We don't see it as, you know, as cringe or whatever the kids are calling it these days, you know, to be trying hard, you know, or, you know, we used to get called tryhards, I'd say, in school or whatever. But, you know, we are try hard, you know, we're trying as hard as we can to do the best job we can do. And by considering every element that we put into the space and every element of like how we serve the beverages, how we serve the customers and make them feel, you know, that communicates that the customer, no matter who they are, is welcome in the space. And, you know, you can't get away from that feeling of welcomeness once you feel it, because it's genuine. Like, we really want them to feel that. We're trying as hard as we can to portray that feeling because we love feeling that.
So to summarize this, like, what is it you want customers to feel when they come in?
Oh, I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Like, we just want them to feel seen and cared for. Like, it's such a simple thing, but it carries so much weight. And I can tell you, it is, you know, there's a lot of elements that go to making a place successful, but the success of like doing that act is what is true success in our eyes, I think. Like, that's literally the purpose of the place, is to have people feel like that, like no matter where they're from, what they do, if they, like Pip said, if we might not have something they want, but that doesn't mean we can't make them feel seen and cared for. And that's what drives everything that we do.
Well, because the thing is, when you can tell when you're making someone feel that way, like when you're serving someone or just talking to someone and, you know, they are feeling seen and feeling like you are genuinely trying to give them a great experience and giving them part of yourself, you know, you're part of your own energy. They are getting that feeling, and that feels good for you as well. Like, when you're giving someone that service, it feels great. It's an amazing feeling. So, and it's what we've talked about way before we talked about Patricia, is like what we love about service is that thing of like connecting with someone and giving them this great experience, because it's a feedback loop that just makes everyone feel great.
Yeah, I think that's like what you're saying is key. I think that's a really important thing. If you're talking about what, you know, people who want to open a venue or people who are working in a venue now, there is nothing lost from putting in that effort towards people, is only really gains. Like, it can feel like, don't get me wrong, I mean, even for us, like, well, I speak for myself, like, it's not like I love interacting all the time. Like, I probably don't like talking that much, but putting the effort in and having that energy reciprocated, it's not a selfless act. Like you get so much back from that. And I think we're so passionate about that. Like I know passion's a bit of a throwaway word, but like
it is the thing for us.
It's such an amazing thing. And even like, you know, for myself walking into Patricia, like to see the team doing that day in, day out. Like, and it's hard, maybe as a customer, you've been there and like, it hasn't gone exactly to plan the way we want to execute it. And that's always going to happen. But when you work there and you see it happen day in, day out by every single person working there, it's no small feat. It's an amazing thing. And that's all it is, just making people feel seen.
Well, let's talk about that, the team, because you've got an incredible group of staff and I think you invested a lot in them to kind of implement this vision of like having the excellent service and everything you've just spoken about then. So 2-part question. First, like, how do you recruit staff? And how do you instill this in them? How do you train your staff to deliver this world-class service?
Well, I mean, we're in a very lucky position to always have people applying. So I think it's kind of a privileged situation. But ultimately, it really comes down to the connection with the person. Like when you're talking to the person, you know, it doesn't matter about experience actually. And sometimes experience is a negative, you know, because you know they've picked up lots of behaviors that are not going to be helpful. So I think really it's just seeing the person for who they are, trying to feel like, are they genuine about what they're saying? Because it's one to say like, oh, I like delivering service. I like seeing customers happy, but it's more about, do you like the connection with people? It's not really a service thing. It's like, do you like to connect with people? Do you get value out of that? And I think we all do. That's the truth of it. But I think for people, they're more conscious of it.
Well, and a lot of people who've maybe been in hospitality for a long time and maybe they've had like tricky working situations, bad culture or a bad boss potentially, you know, a lot of people end up pretty jaded in hospitality. You need to find people, I think, that still have a bit of the fire for service, who aren't just sort of getting through it. You know, like you can't work at Patricia and just like be getting through it. It is about being present and genuine, and you have to have a bit of passion.
Well, I suppose there's the requirement element of that, but also being able to sustain it, because like you've got people coming at you from all different angles all day.
Yeah, it's really that. I mean, that's obviously very challenging.
It's high energy.
It's really high energy. You got to give yourself all day, and that's, you know. And I think the fact that we do that and have done that means that we're able to empathize with staff. So I think that definitely helps. But ultimately, we're basically just hiring people that we feel are really genuine and really care about it.
And so that's the recruitment stage. So now like the training stage. So what's the induction process for Patricia?
Well, I think that's ever evolving, to be honest, especially as we, you know, go into another phase. I think we're always trying to improve on it. And I think like anything, like I don't want to give the impression that like it's always, you know, we're always making the right decisions and doing, you know, training's perfect and all that. It's not. Like we always need to improve. There's no element we couldn't improve on. And as far as training goes, sort of, I guess it almost starts from the induction, like from the hiring point of view. Like we have a multifaceted hiring process. So there's questions are sent out to people through email when they've applied, or applicants that we think are going to the next step. Then there's a face-to-face interview. Then there's a trial. Then there's an induction. Then there's another induction. So it's,
we just keep inducting.
So is this like,
so no one actually works there, they just get inducted.
So have you got like a lot of documentation that you've kind of?
Yeah, we've got a fair bit of documentation now, but that's taken a long time to get to, for sure. A lot of it, you know, when you're working in the place all the time, and when I was working in it all the time and managing it, this is all a lot more haphazard, because you're just really hard to put those systems in place. I think luckily, maybe the skill I have, maybe the only skill I have, is being able to connect with people, like being able to see people and choose the right people. Like I just feel like I get genuine people, and I can tell if they're going to be a good fit for Patricia, and I've been pretty lucky, pretty successful with that. So I think there's a lot of procedure now with the training. We have someone who, like, I am part of the induction, but also there's someone who's doing more training with the people, and we're forever improving on that. But there's also, like, at the end of those, there's questions that we put forward to see if they've actually understood what they've been trained, because that's one thing I experienced a lot without having the questions, is that you would often go through a training thing and then 3 weeks later they would say, oh, I wasn't taught that. So if you're not kind of going back and actually ticking things off and actually asking them, reinforcing that they understand what you've said, I would say that's a massive thing. I would really recommend people to do that, because then if you don't do that, you kind of get caught out. Like, it can be questioned whether you did tell them or not, unless you've got evidence of it. So that's a massive part of it. And I think one thing that I haven't experienced before, and what we probably do differently, is we actually talk about how to talk to people, not in a robotic way, but we actually sort of dissect a bit of like how you interact with people.
What's an example of that?
Well, obviously a really easy one, which most people would know, is like greeting straight away. So any time that you let lapse between someone walking in and a greeting is uncomfortable time for the customer, especially in an environment like ours where it's a bit different. It's hustle and bustle. It's intimidating for people. It can be. When you greet straight away, you're taking control of that interaction. You get to host that situation. So I think that's a massive thing. Really simple, but a huge part of it. You don't want that space there. It's a really good analogy, a really easy one, is that you're hosting a house party, and everyone who's invited is a friend or a friend of a friend. And, you're not going to just stand at the door awkwardly and wait for them to approach you in the right manner. You're going to be saying hi.
Well, also just not making the customer feel like they have a job to do.
Yeah.
Like, you're the one who's working. It's your job to make it all work, seamlessly and to host the situation. The customer doesn't need to know where to be served, doesn't need to know, doesn't need to do the right thing. There is no right thing for the customer to do. They don't have a job because they're on holiday, basically. They're in the shop on a little holiday, and it's your job to make sure that everything that they do is the right thing to do, basically. So if they go to the wrong place to place an order, you take their order there. That's okay. Those type of things. Like, everything is dynamic and adaptable to the customer, as opposed to rigid and robotic, like Bowen said. There's no robotic answers to things. Everything has to be adapted to that particular person.
Can I throw a hypothetical at you? Say, for example, so within the context of you training your staff to deal with, I guess, ad hoc situations. So say, for example, you don't serve almond milk. Customer wants almond milk. What should the staff member say?
Yeah, so like how dare you? Yeah, no. So the good example for that is, I feel, I mean, this is all just me guessing, but like saying no to things is not a great way to start an interaction. So I wouldn't say, we don't do that. No, we don't have that. I would just say, I'm really sorry. We've got oat or soy. We don't have almond. So I think just trying to make it positive, moving on to what you do have. I mean, there's heaps of things we don't have, which is one of the, I guess, challenges with Patricia. So you're constantly kind of having to say, we don't do that. And it's really about, it's not just sort of, it's maybe more how you're saying it than exactly what you're saying. So that's an example where I would always say stuff like, don't lead with no, and we don't do that. Like, if you say we don't do that, it's very abrasive.
Somewhat pretentious in tone as well.
Well, yeah. And also, like, I think for us, it's about appreciating like different perspectives. Like, of course you could see Patricia as pretentious. We wear leather aprons, we're in a laneway, like, it's got milk crates outside. And I think, one of the things probably for both of us being in the industry for so long is that we're able to have a lot of different perspectives and appreciate those points of view, but then also come at things with our approach and know that we've delivered the best we can within what we do, and that we can live with that. If you don't like it, that's okay, but we're always going to be nice and we're always going to care about your experience regardless.
In a strange sort of way, I kind of feel like people respect you more after this as well. Like, yeah, you don't have what they initially wanted, but it's like, well, actually, unfortunately, we don't have almond milk, but maybe you want to try our batch brew, which is like really, really amazing. And a lot of the times you actually switch people onto something different and they come away, you know, with a new experience and a little bit more respect for you.
Yeah, well, I think you've got to be able to offer other things. Like, you know, we've always offered different coffees. And you know, when you come and order a coffee from the espresso machine, you always get the choice. It's not like, here's the milk coffee, here's the black coffee. So we can say like, oh, sorry, we don't have that. We don't do this, but you do get this choice. And here's a sparkling water. So you can't, and I guess that's sort of going back to what we're talking about, but considering all the elements.
The sparkling water is I want to touch on this actually, because the sparkling water is such a hack for people, because with every single transaction you do, like if I'm to paint a picture for someone now, when you walk into Patricia, you are greeted straight away. Then you're given a choice of 2 blends if you're ordering a flat white. And every single time, would you like a glass of sparkling water? But the sparkling water is just that little bit of extra on top that, you know, and there's a bit of work for you involved with it actually, because like you've got to.
There's a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of work with that.
You're making what? How many coffees a day do you make?
1,200? 1,200 these days.
1,200. So 1,200 offers of sparkling water as well. And like you've got to have people walk it out to other people, go collect the cups, wash them.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's such an awesome thing. Like it's so good to be able to just give people something that's for free. Like you're not paying for that. It's again, it's just that like you're hosting a party. Like you want to look after people. It's not, I think like back to the training thing, like what we talk about a lot is this is not a transaction. Like forget about that, which is hard because we do a lot of them. Like a lot of people come through, so it's hard to get in that mindset. But forget about the transaction. It's an interaction between people. You're just you're both people. Forget about everything else. Like just be a person and be kind and considerate, and then the rest will happen. Like don't worry about that.
And be in the moment. Like it's so much about being in the moment and being there with that person. Like it's like, you know, when the numbers are big, you know, it is a lot of coffees that we're making, a lot of people we're serving, you know, you could get bogged down in those numbers, but each number is a person, and like they've each got a different expectation. They've got different things that turn them on. They've got different like things they get excited about in the shop. And you know, you're not gonna get 2 people the same in any day. So, you know, you get regulars who you start to know, but you also get heaps of new customers every day, and you need to be there for them to like get to know them a little bit and, you know, be able to answer any questions that they have, like talk them through the weird little things that we do, and make sure that you're doing that in a way that's bespoke to that person.
And what I love about this as well is that in a lot of places offering the sparkling water, offering 2 different types of coffee, it's a bit of a chore for the staff, but I feel like you've really systemized it and like to get people to that point, like to get staff to buy in is, you know, part of the challenge. Obviously it's part of your system, but like in a lot of places that's actually a chore.
Yeah, well, I guess it's again, like it's about picking the right people that want to connect it. Like everything is about the connection. That, you know, it doesn't matter for us if you're on making shots, on milk, you're serving, they're all interaction points. And that's the great thing about the bar setup. You can interact with every staff member behind the bar.
Oh, no seats.
No seats.
Everyone's on the same level. Everyone can easily make eye contact with everybody in the room. It is. And
it's one team working in that one, like all together in that space. Whereas obviously, and this is a real challenge. I'm not like want to be dismissive of this, but it's, you know, the way that cafes have to be set up, because that's another thing that I didn't consider when I was setting a cafe up, is that like there's factors that mean, oh, this bench has to go there because this sink has to go there. So when you're working somewhere and you think, why is this like hard to work in? It's not necessarily the person who designed it's fault. It's just that some things have to go in some places. And we were lucky enough, I guess, to be able to put everything in a way that made it really easy to work in. And obviously if it's easy to work in, you can have more fun. And if you're having more fun and you're interacting more, it's a much better place to work.
And a lot of the systems are set up to be like, to make it the actual making of the beverage as easy as possible so that things don't feel like chores. Like if something feels like a chore, it is probably a point of friction you want to get rid of, and that comes down to paring back of the offerings and, not doing teas, not doing juices, not doing a lot of things. Those things are, sort of things that end up feeling like a chore, and, get in the way of the customer connection.
But it's also like an investment in a way as well, right? Like you're putting the time, like you have to actually have probably a full-time staff member every day, like assigned to doing water, right? Yeah, effectively.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's, let's call that $80,000 a year, right?
Yeah. And now you say that.
We're not very good with money.
And then, getting the glasses and all that sort of stuff. It's an investment, but there's a return on it because obviously it all contributes to that. Let's call it an ecosystem of having the care factor, the service, the experience, the connection.
Yeah.
And then that's enabled you to get to this point where, a lot of people want to come and buy coffee off you.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, you can't underestimate what the power of that connection is. Like it is everything to us. It really, it's because I think that it's easy to be like, oh yeah, the coffee, I think the coffee is really good. We're really consistent. Like Pip and Ali who roast it do a great job. And I think that's all awesome. But, a major ingredient of that coffee, the biggest ingredient is that human connection. And that's overall makes the product taste better.
And this is what I love about you guys, because I'm a big technologist with coffee, as you both know. I'm all for automating a lot of different things. But I think what you do it proves a different theory that I have, is that like the value of a barista and the value of an artisanal experience is actually just increasing in society as, we modernize and, innovate in so many different ways of life. Like walking into Patricia, having that like 1920s kind of feel, the guy in the apron, the nice collared shirt, and they're still steaming milk with a machine when you and I have had plenty of discussions about, automatic machines doing that. I think like the value of that, it's only getting higher, and especially, the connection as well, like that's increasingly rare in today's world, but the value has never been higher.
We do automate where we can to take the chore factor away, where it makes sense. I think, we use grind by weight grinders, and we use a puck press, and we use volumetric coffee machines. Those are all automations. And, we're always looking at new technology. We use a Loring at our roastery that uses, we design the profile and it does a lot of the roasting itself while I stand there watching it do it. We'll use technology where it makes things more consistent and where it gives the staff the opportunity to make those connections with customers. I think there's a lot of points where automation really works to improve that experience thing. But then if we're using, if we test something and we find that it's not quite good enough and doesn't actually, improve the connections that are being made in the shop, we won't go for it.
Well, I think we are in a bit of a like tipping point stage with technology, and I think that, like I say, we like automation. We're not against it, but I think it's that consideration of what kind of job are you creating? That's an important thing to think about because, anytime we've tried certain automations, the feedback from the team is like, I want to do that job. I don't and so, that's a massive part of it. You got to think like, what are we creating? Because there's always going to be, technology basically works because it says we're going to make it more efficient and we're going to make you more money. People like to talk about the connection element, but for the most part, like that's a lot of how technology works, how it lures you in basically. And, that's fine. Like you can make more money, but like if you're not going to create a job worth doing, then you're not going to have people who want to do the job, I think. So it's all a balancing act. But again, like comes back to that thing we were talking about before about understanding how things work and feel together. If we went too hard in automation, I think we would feel lazy for us in our space. This is not a commentary on anyone else. It's just like for us in our space, it's sort of known for, they've got way too many staff behind the bar doing, putting all this effort in.
You need to be doing something.
So I think we always balance that out. Obviously we want things to be really consistent, and humans are pretty good at being consistent. maybe not as good as some robotics, but also I think that's kind of where the beauty is. Like, it's interesting because people are trying to do something and they can get it wrong.
Well, like without bad, you don't know what good is, right? You know, so like I can appreciate that as well. Like, you know, count on some mistakes happening. Obviously, you don't want it happening frequently, but like they make you better.
Yeah, and that friction, I mean, that's kind of what you're working with all the time. That is what you're trying to do. That's what kind of makes it exciting. It feels like a negative thing, but actually the friction of this is hard to do and I can't get it right every time is something really beautiful in a weird kind of way, I think.
So you've been going for how many years did you say now?
14.
14 years.
Yeah.
And it's been successful thus far.
Hopefully.
It's been going all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
But let's talk about now probably the biggest crisis you had in your business, which would have been COVID. So when the pandemic happened, and obviously Melbourne is a really vibrant city, and especially before COVID, and like a lot of people coming through, you're always selling a lot of coffee, big part of what this city's fabric is. And then everything within a few weeks comes grinding to a halt. So can we start from like when COVID, I guess, first was discovered to your business being shut down? Were you shut down?
God, such a blur.
Well, both of us had kids
Newborn.
right when COVID hit. So so my daughter was born in February 2020.
Yep.
And so were his twins.
Yeah.
So we both were pretty focused on kids, but I do remember there being like a notice up at the hospital saying, you know, there's this new disease going around that we're not sure about. So pretty much while we were like, you know, at home with the kids, all of it started unraveling, and yeah, we had to shut the shop for a while, quite a while.
How long?
I can't even remember.
But
I cannot remember.
Well, I think
was it more than 3 months?
I think it was probably 2 months we were actually shut. That's what I think. So we were already roasting then, but we were at a co-roasting space at Fieldwork, and I think I just took that opportunity to build a website and start being able to sell coffee online for the first time.
We sell coffee online. We're meant to say that.
patriciacoffee.com.au?
patriciacoffee.com.au. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can buy it.
Yeah. So we started roasting. We were already roasting, but we just started selling online then. And we had a real focus of just trying to make sure the staff were okay. Like make sure that, you know, there was the job seeker payments. They helped us, the job keeper payments. They helped us a lot. Like all of us got that, or all of the Australians got that. And then, you know, we had to supplement, you know, like there was some Kiwis and people from other countries. So we basically just bunkered down and just roasted coffee and sent it online for a while. And then we opened up the windows when we could and started serving out through the windows onto the street. And that was okay, but it was a lot of treading water. We went into that with, you know, some good savings in the bank, and we went through all of the savings.
Yeah.
Like that was like,
We're still
that was the
recovering.
biggest thing. Yeah, we basically used all our savings to survive COVID. But we also had this thing, which was we had been there for, you know, at that point we'd been there for about 10 years or 11 years. And we really know our regulars, you know, we've, you know, really come to know them over the years. And we were pretty confident that, you know, we're around the courts, we're around the, you know, we're in the CBD, that life will come back, you know, slowly maybe, but eventually, you know, people will be coming back. And we just know that they love coffee. They love coming in and having a chat. And you know, we just were pretty confident that they would be back.
Sounds like you were quite optimistic in the face of something that was...
I cannot speak of that time. I was so sleep deprived and like stressed that I can't.
So in a way, was having the children kind of like...
the children was waiting. It was the combination. Like I just remember being up, like we would get up 4 times a night to feed twins, my wife and I. And at the same time, like I'd be with the phone looking at the numbers. And I just think that combination of stress, I mean, I found that whole time really stressful, like many people, obviously. And I think one thing I do remember about that time is that because we were serving out of the windows, which was kind of nice to be back in action, it wasn't Patricia. It just was not. And I remember feeling really dejected about it. I was like, this is just, I know I was so sleep deprived, but I just remember thinking like, this I don't want. Like this I don't want to do. This is not fun for me. It's not what we signed up for. So I remember that being a big factor, but ultimately, like, I think we were also always on the side of health. We were just like, well, we're not going to put anyone at risk. That was our goal, really.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think the kids were a big factor in that time. Like, I mean, I honestly, like, us being shut down and doing very limited service meant that I got a huge amount of time with my daughter, my first kid, and like that actually definitely has shaped the way, you know, I've treated work going forwards and treated like planning going forwards. The amount of time that I got with her, I was like super thankful for, and that was probably why I look back on it with some fondness, is because I actually ended up getting so much time with my newborn.
I was the opposite. I just wanted to go back to work. No, not really. No, it was a real mix of like, there was something really beautiful about that time when you would, like, we just did the same walk every day, but it was so simple, and you saw families out always riding bikes and things like that. And I just remember thinking there was a lot of joy in that time as well. But honestly, it's hard for me to not look back with just stress.
Isn't it interesting?
The Patricia stuff was very stressful.
Yeah, it was.
Isn't it interesting? Something just popped into my brain. Like 10 or 15 years from now, your children will be able to listen to this. And like,
hey, we were born in COVID.
Yeah. Well, that, but it's also like, you know, we live in an era now where like anyone can be asked on to a podcast, an interview and sort of things. And it's very traceable. Like your children are going to be able to listen to this in 15 years and be like, geez, my dad said this, my dad went through that. And
well, if they want, they can just get our voices, turn it into an AI clone, and they can actually just have conversations with us long after we're dead.
In the event that you, interesting left field question for you both. If your children do listen to this 15 years from now, what would you like current you to know? Well, like, what would you like to tell them right now?
Oh. God.
If your children are listening, on
this podcast,
if your children are listening 15 years from now, what do you want to tell them?
I would say I really hope you are doing what you love.
Please get off social media. Please stop it. I think that's
do what you love. Yeah.
I think a big part of the passion that we have for what we do is the idea of like, do not waste time. It's, you know, it's so important. Like, just do not waste time. If you're, you know, I appreciate that, like, obviously people need money and they need jobs, and there is definitely that element. And so I'm not want to really comment on that, but I just would say, like, if you're doing something, just try and find joy in it, you know, and get the most out of it. Cause I think that's, you don't want to waste time. That's a massive thing. And that's, you know, and the part of why I kind of, love what we do is that, like, I never feel like when we're behind that bar, I never feel like we're wasting time. We're always just putting effort into other people. And that's just...
Yeah, and you're building a community. You're making people feel good about themselves. I mean, how can you be wasting time doing those things?
Yeah, and it's easy, like, I think from the outside to sort of look and go, well, these guys are in their 40s and they're still making coffee. You know, often like we get a lot like, I got a lot over time is sort of, you know, are you still going to do that job? Like, are you still going to work in it? And outside of the fact that your body does get a bit decrepit doing the...
I can attest to that.
Yeah, the body, honestly, that's one of the hardest things. Like the repetition, the body does get pretty banged up. But because there's just so much value in that connection thing, it's hard to ever want to give up. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Really.
No, I love that. It's such a beautiful thing. I don't know why I thought of that just then, but just you know, just your kids will be able to listen to this stuff back. Like, I want to know more about my dad. Like,
I hope you've been doing your homework.
15 years from now, they'll be like they'll be like, I don't know, probably living on Mars.
Yeah.
Well, on their 20th birthday, tell them, hey, I did this podcast back in 2025 with a guy called Kirk. I want you to take a listen.
What's a podcast?
The coffee show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was a podcast. Maybe it's just like
What's
an AR.
Dad?
Yeah, no, that's true. There could be a relic of the past. But all right, let's get back into the coffee stuff now. If someone's listening to this, and I'm sure plenty will, and they're thinking,
Hi, Mum.
and they think, I want to open their own cafe. what would your advice be to them?
Find a friend who you've had for a long time who really wants to open a cafe.
Yeah. Who has no money?
Give us like 3 tips.
Well, make it people first. That's the key.
Yeah, make sure you really want to do it. Like a lot of people, I don't know, often I find myself in like an Uber with somebody saying, oh, you have a cafe. Yeah, I was thinking about getting one of those. And it's like that. Someone who says something like that doesn't want to do it because like they're missing what they're going to have to do.
They're not great investments.
No,
they're not. Yeah, and I think that, obviously some people, a lot of people do it as a business. Like it's just a business to them, which is fine. But I think it's got to be, well, for us, I mean, this is our point of view, obviously. Like it's got to be hospitality first. It's got to be people first.
Everything needs to be people first, whether it's the customer or the team. Like,
exactly, the team as well.
Yeah, all of those people need to be first because it's all, every business runs on people, or every cafe, runs on people and on the energy that they put in. And so you need to make sure that they are put first and everything is considered from a human point of view, I would say.
Yeah, and I'd say with that, like I think a lot of, and this, I don't want to say this is difficult, I get it, but like a lot of people I speak to in management or owners, there can be a thing of, well, staff, they're hard, they come and they go. And I think that you get what you put in. So that's a massive thing. I would say give to your staff. That doesn't need to be like you need a big budget, finances, and you need to take them out for lavish dinners. It's just
invest,
or connect with them, like care about them. Care about their life experience, be genuine about that. That's going to create a great team. And again, like you get so much back from that. But I think if you always just say, well, staff are going to come and go, you are going to get that. If you say, well, actually, let's try and invest in them. Let's give them time. Let's give them energy. Let's care about them. They're going to hang around for sure. And I think that's a big thing about setting up a cafe. You've got to care about that. I don't think you can do it just for the end goal. You have to actually care about it because people see through it. It's very transparent. You can tell when someone's like, I just got to tick this box to keep the staff member. That's a massive part. And what else? I mean, there's so much. Don't underestimate every detail. That's a big thing.
Yeah, everything should be purposeful.
Every single detail is important. And, location is obviously massive to that. Everything, the lighting that, like the sunlight that the building gets or doesn't get, the way that people enter it, the way that every part of it would feel being the customer. It's not to say that like we don't get that perfect either. There's parts of Patricia that like I constantly wish I could evolve and change and all of those things. But I think just really don't underestimate anything. Just care about every single element. And if you're doing that under the umbrella of people first, you'll get it right. You'll get most of it right. At least enough of it to be successful, I would think. I hope.
Yeah, well, if I can add one more for mine, I think like relationships as well, right? Like, sometimes it's not worth saving $1 per kilo on your coffee to get a cheaper deal if you've got a really good situation with your relationship with your supplier.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Pip can definitely speak more to that, but we have amazing suppliers. I mean, I know from like the cake, all that kind of stuff, they're incredible. But then obviously the relationship Pip has with all the green buyers, they seem to be amazing as well. I don't have heaps to do with that. But we're really, big on those relationships as well, for sure.
And that's people as well. Like it's all people.
I always say sometimes it's good to treat your suppliers as if they're actually customers.
Yeah, well, that's funny you say because I actually did, when I left high school, I did a hospitality management course at TAFE. And I remember nothing of that course except for one thing, like what the guy said, literally what you just said, which was, and you can frame this in a different way to make it a bit nicer, but he was like, everyone's a customer. Everyone is a customer. It's true. Like they don't need to be buying something, but we have people come, like say, and we don't do this for the outcome. Again, we just do this because all of our people, we like people. So like we have guys come clean our window. Like we're always offering them a coffee. We get to know them. We get to know
give
their
the
name.
delivery guy a coffee. You got to do it.
That kind of stuff.
That produces serious outcomes.
Well, it produces outcomes, and also it's just like,
Nice
I mean,
impetus.
It's just nice.
well, yeah, like see people for people. Don't just be like, oh, they're not important. And I guess like, why it's sort of so easy for us to kind of live by that is because like Patricia is almost like the embodiment of what we believe how you should just get around in the world.
That's beautiful.
It's not that like I'm sure someone's going to like write something like, I remember you served me once and you're an asshole. Like probably, we're not perfect.
You punched all those guys as well.
Yeah, there was those fights. And, we're not perfect, but the effort's always there for sure.
How do you feel about places that just copy and paste what you've done? Because there's been a few in Melbourne, and I was just in London. We won't name names, but I went somewhere and I thought, yeah, this is a copy and paste job. So like from the way you arrange the newspaper to like the branding and things like that. You've had a few copycats. How does that kind of go down?
Well,
we always talk. It's a funny thing because I think that we might talk about it amongst just me and Bowen, and often a customer will come in and mention something like that to us. I don't know. We might sometimes think, why wouldn't you do your own thing? That's often what we say. Just do your own thing. But like we don't feel like we don't feel like we are in competition really with anybody. Like our whole philosophy while we're running the cafe is that we are doing our own thing as best as we can do it, and it's not about competing with anybody else. It's just about doing the best we can do, and hopefully that will work. And over the years, it has worked. So if somebody wants to do that, that's what they want to do. To me, it's like I don't understand why they would. But,
they don't really have a lot of longevity generally because they don't have their own ideas. But also like, it's not like we invented like standing coffee bars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't kind of claim that we invented anything because we didn't. So I think it's all about like, first of all, we get a lot of places who say, we love Patricia and we really wanted to set it up like Patricia. And that to me is amazing. The other side is like, we completely 100% ripped you off, and what are you even talking about? Like, no, we didn't. So that side, I think, especially when it's sort of that happened early days, that was quite hard to swallow because, like I say, the obsession, like especially for me, it was obsessive the way I thought about it all the time. It drains me no end. Like I was a wreck basically, just obsessing over it. So then if someone comes in and just sort of really copies and pastes, that's a hard pill to swallow. But
because you've put so much work into it.
But also but I'm not claiming any originality in a way either. It's
the other thing about it is that all they are actually doing is copy, and you can only really copy and paste the shell.
Yeah, the aesthetic.
And exactly. You can't really if that's your motivation to copy and paste something, really you can't. By definition, you can't have the genuine outlook towards service that we have. They're opposites. So if they did that, then it's not going to be the same place because they're not going to have the same philosophy as we do as far as service and connection goes.
But I think in particular, the place you're speaking about in the UK, they were very open and we had heaps of conversations. So that was one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, awesome. Like go for it. Which is amazing. And and it's amazing, like, especially when you go places like Japan and we've had the craziest experiences in Japan, and you go to places and they will just talk about how what we do has inspired them. And that's the best.
That's
that
awesome.
feeling
I
is
love
incredible.
that.
Just to think like, I don't know, just us idiots have set up a cafe and that people, it means so much to people. That's unreal, But it's only ever been a negative when it's full copy and paste. But I don't know, we just don't pay attention to stuff anymore, really. To be honest, we're in our own, we're doing our own thing.
I think really. A lot of the time there is this sort of illusion that people have that I guess the magic of Patricia is just the way it looks and the way it's set up, and that's part of it. But I think that if that's what somebody's going to do, then they're missing something which is a much more holistic thing. And yeah, I think it's cool to take inspiration from places, and I think that's the normal way to do things. It's great. But yeah, I think that you can't really just replicate it, because that wouldn't be getting the point.
But I think aesthetics is a really big thing. Like you see that a lot now. It's obviously really easy to get aesthetics pretty right and put a lot of money in, because you've got Pinterest, and you've got social media. Yeah. So I think that's really easy, but there's really is a difference between putting money in and getting it right from a like looking in point of view to how does that translate to how it feels in the space, and is it the right place for that? I think that you'll see a lot of that. The error there will be because people don't really get it, what they're going for. It's just like, let's make it like, yeah, concentrate on the details, make it look pretty, make everything look pretty. That's just not really what it's there for. You don't need to have a lot of money and make it super pretty. You just need to be genuine and considered, about everything. So I think that that's where you see that a lot these days. Like people just throw the money at it. The coffee machines are great. The aesthetics are great, but it doesn't translate. The feeling doesn't translate. It's just not in the right area maybe.
Yeah.
And, and it's like, don't get me wrong, it's very hard to get right, I think,
No,
because it has to be a great space to be in.
Yeah, it's kind of like a puzzle in a way. You got to get all the pieces aligned, and, if one piece is out of whack, then the whole thing isn't complete. So, even with our venue, like I think we got the design wrong with how we do the dishes, and it's just like something that we can't undo and affects other areas. So.
Exactly. And it's really hard. Like, and you can think about it, but then like still you get in the space and you go, oh, this is different to how it looks on paper. Like it just doesn't function. It's definitely don't want to seem like it's easy thing. It's really challenging, and sometimes you just can't help but get things wrong. Like,
well, experience, right? Like,
experience is helpful, but also like that can put the blinders on you as well. Experience.
Yeah.
You can underestimate things because you just go, oh yeah, we just do this.
Yeah.
That's a real challenge, I think.
No, well, I don't know. It's something that's set with me forever. I'm like, God, I want to just rebuild this now.
Yeah.
But can't yet. But one thing that's really interesting about you guys as well is that your owner-operators have been for 14 years in an industry that's, it's a bit of a slog on the body. So it's like, and, taxing on the mind at times.
Yeah.
So you haven't really like had a big focus on expansion, which I find admirable as well, because the energy's remained in the building where you're at currently, but you've recently decided that you're going to open your second venue. So there's going
second of 200.
Yeah. So, but Patricia 2.0 is coming.
Yeah.
And it's coming in early next year, from what we know.
Hopefully, yes.
But like, I know how much you consider each decision, because we've spoken about it a lot personally in over the years about certain things. How do you feel ready now? Because I know you don't think I know you won't do things unless you feel comfortable and that you'll feel you'll do it well. So you obviously got the confidence there. How did you reach that?
Well, I'd say first it's the team, isn't it? Like that makes the biggest difference. So, we've been lucky enough to have a great team the whole way through. And now, I guess more than ever, I feel like there's a real bulk of experience in there, and with people who want to do more, and with especially like, I'm more in the cafe these days than Pip because he's doing the roasting, but I kind of put a ceiling on their growth, being in there. Even if there's a position of manager, it's sort of like I can, I'm there, so I might make decisions on the fly. And so I think that is a massive part of the growth of being able to offer that growth for other people is massive. And there's kind of something to be said for like, because we don't ever want to be big, we have to get the scale of things right to stay small, which is a weird kind of thing to consider.
That's a good way of saying it.
We can't really, like, as we are now, unless we go and do other things, it's probably not the most sustainable thing for two owners with families where we are at now. Like when we were in our 20s, it's probably a bit easier, but now it's probably a little bit harder to sustain. And that but we never want to be big. We just don't want to do that because I don't want to walk into my place and not know who the staff member is. Like that would be shocking. So, and I want to connect with everyone. So, and so does Pip. So I think that this is the growth that allows us to continue to do that, which seems a bit counterintuitive, but it'll grow us to the point where we're hoping it makes it more sustainable for us now having our own roastery.
I think we've been slowly walking towards it over a few years.
14 years.
But like the last few years, I would say, and I'd say this comes back to like sort of us rethinking things a little bit post-COVID is like we did slowly, we were co-roasting and then we started our own roastery. And now we've got our own roastery and our capacity, we don't really want to do wholesale, or we don't want to do a lot of wholesale. So, Patricia goes through a lot of coffee, but it doesn't go through enough to keep our roastery running 5 days a week. So it just makes sense for us to, be able to, take up a little bit more of that capacity of the roastery. We've got this amazing team who, now we don't need to be there all the time. Bowen is there still a lot, but I am in the roastery most of the time now. And it's also, I think, an excitement about meeting new regulars, meeting new people in a new, the other side of the city. For me, it's exciting to sort of be able to get on the roster again.
Yeah.
We've been hiring with the plan of opening the new place. So I haven't worked in the cafe in months, and I'm excited to work in the new cafe and meet the new people who hopefully we can convince to keep coming back.
Well, and also since we opened, we've had people asking us to open up the top end of the city. That's like, they've just like, please come up top end. Because everyone moves office all the time. So a really amazing part of it is also like reuniting with people that we haven't seen for a long time. And I know just having like, I guess you don't want to die wondering like, what's it like to do another venue? I think that for me, especially, I feel like there was so much fear around that. Like getting it wrong is just, I really can't stand the possibility that we get it wrong, or maybe it negatively affects the Patricia now. That's a terrible thing to imagine. But I think also like nothing's forever. You can't hold on to it. You have to just give things a go. And that's a really exciting thing. Like we are, there's fear around it, but it's mainly excitement, I would say.
Yeah.
Because the venue that we're going to is unbelievable. So that's a massive part of it too. I think we were just like, we're not doing anything just for the sake of doing another venue. It has to be with the same mindset. We want it to be the best place that we can make.
For a long time, I think we talked about opening another place, and most of the time the predominant feeling was fear. Like it was like, oh, how much work would that be? That is terrifying. And then we ruled it out. And every time we talked about it, we would come to the conclusion that it was the wrong time to do it. And just like,
and we may be right.
and we may have been right all along. No, but then 6 months ago or whatever, a year ago, I think we had the conversation, and it was like, actually, that's a really exciting prospect now. And both of us were pumped for it.
So I think it was really on the thing of it has to be the right place, right?
Yeah, once that
box was ticked, it's gone to just like, okay, this is definitely right.
Luckily, you're like a magnet for good places.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm really excited for you. I can't wait for it to open. I can't wait for you guys to get that experience as well. Yeah. Can't wait to see you back on the bar.
Should be
really
fun.
Exciting.
Hopefully, I can remember how to make a coffee.
I think you've got this. I personally,
you're going to have to help us because we're going to be doing pour overs. So we're going to have a little filter bar there. So we're going to, I don't know, it's been a long time since we've done that. So you might have to come and help us out.
So is that part of the feature of like, you want to get back to doing that slow?
It's actually more about the, like, ironically, about the connection part, because basically the new space is very similar to existing Patricia, but it has an adjoining room. And if we don't have a staff member in there, I think it would be easy to not be seen. I think you could just like go into that room and get a bit lost. And so that's kind of where like, well, let's put a little filter bar in here, and then that person can host that room. So filter is kind of the byproduct almost of like what we want to achieve. But also having the roastery and having such a an amazing selection of coffees, it's great to be able to offer them through pour over as well.
You guys are going to crush it. I know you are.
Well,
Hopefully.
I just went to this place in London called Special Guests Coffee.
Oh yeah, that place looks cool.
It's unbelievable. One of the best places I've ever been, to be honest. And they don't make batch brew at all. They only do pour over, and it's like he wants that sort of level of I guess care put into each cup. And there's a lot of synergy there with the way he does things to the way you guys do. But I think I'm super excited for that, and I can't wait to see how you guys do it. And I think again, you guys live and breathe excellence. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm sure Melbourne is too.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're just really excited, and the fact that we get to increase the team, like hire more people. I think that's something that at times you can have a bit of dread for, but actually I just get more and more excited about that because I just keep finding great people. And I just think there's more of them out there. They want to work in great places. And every time we get a new staff member, I'm so excited. They're the best, they make it what it is. And like the fact that we're not behind the bar, sort of guiding that is a pretty amazing thing, I think. Like to see, and that's from all of our like senior staff really, and the core group that are able to, live out what we believe, and that's a pretty beautiful.
Keep the culture going.
It's a pretty beautiful thing to see. Like the fact that something you really believe in can be taken up by others and continue on. That's so cool. And so I think what can feel like a bit of dread sometimes, like, oh no, got to find staff. Where am I going to find them? I'm just like, awesome, we're going to find great staff. And they're going to have a great time.
There'll be a conga line of people that want to come and work for you, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully, like, we're trying our best to make it a great place to work. That's, there's still so many things we can do to make it better, and that's exciting as well. And also I think that's where the growth is really helpful. When you're so small, it's actually hard to implement a lot of systems, things, because you're doing too much. So now, hopefully my role gets to focus more on, okay, well, how do I make a better time for each staff member?
Well, evolution's important as well, right? If you're doing the same thing on repeat for 14 years,
Well, I mean, this is I think this is my 26th year of hospitality.
Yeah.
So, that evolution piece for me is also really exciting, although it's highlighted that I have no other skills, and it is a little bit depressing as well. But, but I'm happy as long as the place is going great, really. Like it's not really about me or Pip. I don't think it's just we just want the place to be great.
Yeah.
I feel that as well. And you got to. But we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes now, so
a long time.
Well, it's a decent slog. But I got one more question for you both, and that is like, what's one thing that we perhaps haven't spoken about that you'd like to mention?
We sell coffee online.
Yeah, no. patriciacoffee.com.au if you missed it.
No.
Yeah. No idea.
If you got nothing, then you're good. Free pass.
Yeah. Well, I hope people got something out of our words.
Yeah. No, I think this has been a really, like, I'm sitting here listening. I'm like mentally taking notes, trying to sponge this all up. There's so much value in this podcast for whoever listens to it. Whether you're just a Melbourne coffee drinker, you're a Patricia regular, you're someone across the world, and you want like the best example of how to open a cafe and do it well. Like there's a lot of value in this. So you taking the time and being so generous and transparent is, giving so much value to other people all across the world. So, I very much appreciate it.
Well,
and I'm sure.
Thank you. I mean,
thank you. Yeah.
I think actually one big part is that helps things move along is being grateful. I think we always find a way to be grateful for what we have. So I think that always kind of helps you be more positive because things get hard. That's, there's no way around it. Things can be hard. You're going to have difficult conversations and things get tough. So I think being grateful and positive, helps. I think that's probably what I would leave it with. I think it goes a long way, really.
Yeah.
And I'll just give a quick shout out to our sponsors who we got some sponsors for this podcast, would you believe it? So Barista Group, they supply you with your maki bar, Izaga. So they're legends. Barista Group's been really supportive of us. We love you, Joe. Oatly, oat milk. So Oatly's been a big supporter as well.
Yeah.
Best oat milk in the game, I think. So thank you, Oatly. And Timor, if you're brewing at home, if you need some equipment for the
what kind of discount are we getting?
Well, I mean, I can hook you up. But, you know, Timor fish kettle, everyone uses it at the brewers. I use it at the cafe now. They're great. Scales, electric grinders, hand grinders, all quite affordable as well. Whether you need it at home or the cafe, timor.com, I would recommend. So thanks for helping us get through the sponsor read. But we'll wrap it up there. Again, thanks so much. I think this is gonna be a big dog. You know, everyone's gonna listen to this one. So I really appreciate it, and I think I'll speak on behalf of a lot of people that listen to it. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
It's been great.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Hooroo, folks, and let's go drink some coffee.